A smart husband knows that his wife is smarter. My wife is smarter than I, and she knows how to describe my line of work. She says that I am a professional Godster. A professional Godster is someone who always talks about God, and I guess I do that Sunday by Sunday. But I have given up trying to explain God. I may be a professional Godster, but rather than explain God, I want to help people experience God. Now today is Trinity Sunday, the only Sunday of the church year dedicated to a doctrine instead of a story. And when I was a little kid and my catechism teachers talked about the Trinity, it made my head hurt. One God, three persons. Well, then as an adult, I came to understand that the Trinity really is more of an experience than an explanation. And this is what I mean. First century Jews had an awareness of God as creator from the Hebrew Bible, above all in that magnificent poem we heard read today from Genesis 1. Then along came Jesus, and his followers eventually found something in him that was more than human. In Jesus of Nazareth, they experienced the presence of God in a human life. Then came the crucifixion, and Jesus died, but after that came the resurrection, and they experienced him as alive again. After he ascended into heaven, which we talked about 2 weeks ago, they experienced God in their own lives, their own hearts, and they called this experience the Spirit. We talked about that last week. So the idea of the Trinity, and by the way, the word Trinity is not used anywhere in the New Testament, but the idea of the Trinity evolved as an experience of God the Creator that was then manifest in Jesus of Nazareth, and then later again in the breath-like experience of the Spirit. This is not an explanation. It is, as it was in the past, an experience. Alan Jones was the dean of Grace Cathedral in San Francisco. I met him once. He was a mentor to the priest who was a mentor to me back when I was in seminary. In one of his books, Alan Jones writes that Christianity has 3 unique images of the divine: the pregnant woman, the broken man, and God as a community of persons. What is unique to Christianity, in other words, are these things: Christmas, the pregnant woman giving birth to the divine child, and Easter, the broken man on the cross who rises from death, and the experience of the Trinity, God as a community of persons. Now, I think this is right. Christmas and Easter are at the heart of Christianity. That's why church attendance is so high for both of those celebrations. Now, Trinity Sunday is not quite the same draw. Our ushers today did not have to put chairs out in the back to fit in the crowds for Trinity Sunday. But Trinity Sunday says that God is a community of persons, and we are created in God's image, as Genesis chapter 1 says. And so we have been created to live in community. Life is all about relationship. Life is all about community. Life is all about connections to other people, to nature, to the universe, and to God. Rabbi Harold Kushner is maybe the most famous Jewish leader of our time. He's the one that wrote that book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. He's written a lot of books, and my heart is with Rabbi Kushner because he was the father of a disabled child. And that means that he and I are both members of a club that no one wants to join. In one of his books, he told a story a great story. He was sitting on a beach one hot summer day, and he was watching two little children, a boy and a girl, playing in the sand. They were hard at work building a big, elaborate sand castle. They made moats and towers and the whole deal. Now, because the sand was wet down near the water's edge, that's where they were building this castle. They nearly had it finished when a great big wave came rolling in and knocked this whole thing down. All that was left was a big pile of wet sand. Now, Rabbi Kushner expected these two little children to burst into tears. He figured they would be pretty upset at the loss of all their hard work, but they surprised him. They ran up from the shore, away from the water, laughing and holding hands. Now, he thought about that a lot, and he took away an important lesson. All the things in our lives, all the complicated structures we spend so much time and energy creating, they are all built on sand. Only our relationships with others will endure. Sooner or later, a wave will come along and knock down whatever we have worked so hard to build up. And when that happens, only the person who has someone's hand to hold will be able to laugh. That is wisdom. That's the wisdom that Rabbi Jesus taught centuries before Rabbi Kushner taught it. The Christian teaching of God as Trinity is the idea of God as a community of persons. And it means that community and love are at the center, the absolute center of the universe. And it also means that when life knocks down our plans, and life will eventually knock down our plans, if we have someone's hand to hold, we can still laugh. At least that's what this professional Godster says on Trinity Sunday. Amen.